and welcome to the Clubs and Organizations Event Scheduling tutorial. Here we're hoping that we'll be able to simplify and explain how you reserve events and space through student life on Baruch's campus. As a club organization, you should be familiar with our student life page that you see on the screen. Under the quick links is where you would go to request an event. So you'll just click there and follow the form. Obviously, you'll need to fill out the details here to continue throughout the form. So we'll do that here with you. This event description should be utilized in advertising your event. So this is something that when you put this through the system and it is put through by your advisor, can be seen all over campus. So you want to make sure you include details of where, why, when people should be coming. So make sure that that's both professional and clear in terms of logistics. The event categorization will always stay as student events internal from your end, so just make sure that you don't change that information in that box. Submitter information, obviously, is your name. And you'll want to make sure that you're using your email address that is affiliated with Baruch and that you are checking that email address. But we want to make sure that we are as accurate with that information as possible, so please make sure you're double checking that it's all filled in properly. For event scheduling in itself, you want to make sure that you've checked the date. You'll want to make sure that you are paying attention to the AM and PM and selecting the time most appropriate for your event. And then you'll hit the Choose Schedule button. So as you can see, it gives you some reminders of when club hours are and what can start and stop based on time depending on the rooms. This is often where we see kind of the most error occur, so we're going to make sure that we pay attention to this section. You can always go to View Room Availability, and it brings you to the Baruch College Facilities Calendar. On this calendar, you make sure that the event is the date you're looking at and the times, and you can select specific rooms based on Baruch College Newman Vertical Campus and other locations. If you're looking for student life specific rooms, sometimes it's easier to search over in this bar by selecting student event space. So that will only bring up student life spaces. Within that, you can also take a look at conference services spaces and things of that nature. So when you've done these searches, down here will show you room 831 isn't available at these times, but that you can scroll over and see that it is available at other times. It also gives you a key here in terms of when it's closed, what's pending. If there's other people that have put an event in, it will say that there's a pending event. Approved means that it's an event that's already gotten prior approval, so you wouldn't be able to get the space during that time. Something to keep in mind is this is not always the most accurate. If there's a student life event, it hasn't necessarily been put in through the system because we put it in our internal system. So if there's a Heritage Month event, if there's a Bolt training or something of that nature, it may not always be reflected in the facilities calendar. So you'll need to work with your advisor to make sure that you find a date that is available. So back to the room request form. You need a room for this event. You will want to select Baruch College and the Newman Vertical Campus, as that's where most of the events that you will be doing with your advisor should come through. If you're looking for conference services and other spaces, you'll need to talk to your advisor to put that request through. So when looking at this, you'll select you want 3-15, which is one of the common spaces used by our clubs, and look up availability. So it looks like this is showing up as available. Select the room. Again, you won't want to mess with any of the setup time. That should all appear on its own. And you'll select it and say Choose Rooms. Now again, a lot of clubs and organizations are held back by not then also, after you've said you want the room, you have to say you want the room again by hitting Confirm Room Selection. So now you'll see here that it says your room selection is room 3-15, and you should be good to go on that end. Now you'll need to say if you need any resources for the event. This is typically if you need any laptops, a microphone, any other typical AV equipment that you can see right here. Something to keep in mind is our rooms have different capabilities and different things are allowed in different rooms. When you're talking about microphone and amplified sound, you will not be able to do that in any room with the exception of 1107. So 2125, 3215, or other student life spaces are not permitted to have amplified sound at any time, so you'll need to make sure that you're not considering that when making any of these requests. Also consider some of our rooms are smart classrooms, so when talking about 3215, we already know that that has a computer in it, so you shouldn't then additionally be selecting a laptop. So for our purposes, if we're in 3.2.15, we wouldn't need to select any of these equipments, so we can go ahead and just say, I don't need resources for this event. Here, you'll want to make sure you select what club or organization you're a part of. This is so that your advisor that is assigned to you will get this information. So make sure that you select your club, and then if your event attendees will be charged or not, you would want to select the appropriate box. Once you've done this, before hitting submit request, just double check your information and make sure everything is in correctly. You've almost finished the first part of your event scheduling request. Once this is done, it all looks good, all accurate, you'll hit submit request. This brings up another form. As you can see, this is the Qualtrics form, but you should have another tab open still. So double check that that went through and that everything has been clicked properly. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead onto the Qualtrics form. The Qualtrics form also requires that you'll select your advisor, so this ensures that they get an email saying that you've put a request through. You should be familiar at this point with the wellness wheel, so you'll want to identify what your event is so that your advisor can input that information. It's important that you put expected attendance, and we put 3.2.15, which often has between 30 and 40 people in it, so you'll want to make sure that you're putting the appropriate attendance in so that we know that the room is the correct room for you. Many of these other options, depending on what you choose, will in fact give you another option, often when you choose yes, so we'll go through what those are. If you require a guest list for your event and hit yes, this will pop up saying where you can download the guest list template, so that will help you if you are doing that event. Refreshments and contracts. Nothing will pop up if you select food and soda, but if you're selecting beer and wine, you'll see another checkbox that comes up saying that you understand the rules regarding alcohol permits and essentially that you need to touch base with your advisor, so make sure that you do that. If you have any of these contracts and honorariums, you'll want to make sure you check off here just so your advisor is aware that this is something that you will be giving them information on and contacting them with. You do not do any of the contract paperwork, as I'm sure you've learned through your vault training. So just make sure you select if that is accurate. If you are selling tickets for the event, you will see another notice that essentially says, make sure you talk to your student life advisor so that this is all approved through the accounting unit and other entities that need to approve it. And finally, if it's a charitable activity and you hit yes and next, you'll get an additional page. If you hit no, you won't get this page. So here it will say, it'll ask you to fill out what type of charitable activity it is. So in this case, it's a bake sale, and you'll want to put here what organization it's benefiting. You can say that it's your club, and that's all the information that is needed. But if it's an outside organization, it gives you some more prompts regarding other policies that you'll learn about and can read about in the Informer if you need other information. So you'd fill out all of these things so that they are with your advisor when you go to meet with them. And then you just check this box saying that you understand the various guidelines and policies that are all outlined in the Informer. So you should definitely refer to that if you have any questions. And then again, there's a final checkbox saying that you understand that costs incurred, etc., will be required on the club. So once you've done all that, you will hit submit, and the email should then send off to your advisor letting them know that you've submitted both a Qualtrics form and the event request form through Open Entry system. Keep in mind that this message will be received by your advisor and they will deal with it in a few days. If it's something that you haven't heard from, you can definitely follow up with your advisor by stopping in the Office of Student Life to meet with them or by sending them an email inquiring about the status of their events. Hopefully this helps. This should be the quick and dirty of how to submit an event for the academic year.